Hey you guys, I am Jeff. The channel is Yakety Mac and I appreciate you watching. If you're a subscriber, thank you. And if you're not, I hope you'll consider becoming one. So we are about to get started rewiring my boat trailer today. This is for my Pelican Bass Raider 10E. I am going to switch out the incandescent light kit that's on it now that doesn't work all that great for a nice LED system. So I'm going to walk you through that process and show you how I get it done. And then we're going to hook it up to the truck and see if it actually works. Stay with me guys, this should be good.
Ooh, Yakety Mac.
So this right here is everything that I'm going to need to actually change out these incandescent lights for the LED lights. I've got my tool set here with sockets and wrenches that I'm going to need for attaching these bolts here, as well as the ground bolt. And then I got my light kit, which this time I went with the Hopkins. This light kit was $52 from Walmart. It's got the integrated backup light, as you can see there. It's got a little button here you can do the test on. Hopefully it works like that when I've got it all hooked up. Liquid electrical tape, I love that stuff. My wire cutters, some zip ties, and some electrical tape. So I'll show you how we're going to do this, guys. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I am going to cut these wires here. Just cut them clean. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the light kit and I'm going to use the electrical tape to tape the wire from this to my leftovers from right here. I'm going to tape them up there really good. As you can see, that is a very, very long tongue that goes all the way underneath the boat and out the back. Once I have my new wires taped here to my old wires, we are going to come around here to the back of the boat where all the wiring comes out, and then we are going to pull all of this wiring. This is the old wiring, and we're going to pull it so that it pulls the new wiring in and all the way through and out the back of this aluminum tube right here. And then I will have all the wiring that I need to hook up to my lights. So I'm going to try to set this up on a small tripod and let you guys see exactly how I get that done. Okay, y'all, I have laid out the new wiring from end to end. So you can see there I've got it the same length as the current wiring. And I just laid it out flat all the way to the back of the boat. I'm a little, or back of the trailer, I'm sorry. I'm a little concerned because this is 20 feet of wiring. That is 18-foot long trailer. And I've got my two lights laid out here, and you can see the wiring coming off the back of those, plus a little hardware kit that comes with this. So I've only got about 2 feet of wire to spare. Shouldn't be an issue. If I had to guess, I'd say that's maybe about 2.5 feet actually from center to center. I haven't measured it yet. But the good news is that if we need some jumpers or we need some connectors, we've got all this old wire that we can still use. Nothing wrong with putting those two together and sealing them up really good. So I may not make this end here as long. I don't think I need that much space, but we'll find out. Okay, so I have taken this little protective thing off here, careful not to cut it because I'm going to use this to put down here at the end of the new wiring. So I'll just set that off to the side. And then this right here is the old wiring. I'm getting ready to cut it, attach it to this wiring, and pull it through. So I have cut the wiring, and if you remember me saying I was a little bit nervous about having enough wire, what I've decided to do was I gave myself plenty of wire here on the old pin hookup, so that if I do need a little extra, I left my extra up here at the front, easier to get to and easier to work on. So now I am getting ready to attach the new wire to the old wire right here. I'm going to tape it up real good, and I'm going to pull this new wire all the way through the trailer. Okay, so I've got the wires cut and taped together. And then one thing that you're going to want to do before you start pulling them through is you want to unhook the ground wire. Your white wire is going to be the ground, and typically it's connected to a bolt right here near the hitch part of the tongue. So you'll want to loosen that up, take the ground wire off of there, and then we're going to start pulling this through. So there we go, the ground wire is unhooked. That was a 9/16 wrench and a 9/16 socket. Save the bolt, the washer, and the nut, because you're going to want to use that to attach to the new ground wire. So I'm going to cut this old ground wire off of here, and we're going to pull through. Okay, so we are ready to start pulling. One thing that you'll want to do when you're taping the old wire to the new wire, get a really good connection. Tape it up really good. You can always take the tape off at the end. The last thing that you want is for those things coming apart inside this tube, because then you've set yourself up for a real problem. And if you feel any sort of catch along the way or any sort of resistance, go to the front and move it around. Don't just yank on it, because they may come apart. And if that happens again, you're in for a situation. So let's start pulling through. So far, so good. And there we go. The new wire is out at the end. Disaster averted. Okay, so now that I have all the old wiring pulled through, I am just going to start removing the old tail lights. I'm using a 7/16 wrench to loosen up the bolts on the back of these. Pull them right off, and I'll do the same thing to the other side. So I am ready to start installing the new light. So it comes with these bolts and washers. You just simply slide them up in here like this. We're going to run the 2 bolts through the bolt holes here coming off of the trailer. And then we've got a lock washer and a nut. And then we're going to attach this ground wire, which has already got the terminal on the end of it, to one of these here bolts and tighten that down as well. You always want to make sure you've got a good ground. Okay, so we're going to snug those up. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so both of the lights are mounted. Ground wire is attached, and now it's just a matter of connecting wires. So it's pretty simple. For the driver side, you've got the yellow and brown, and it connects to the yellow and brown here, and they've got the supplied wire nuts. I'm going to put those on, and I'm going to douse these things up in some liquid electrical tape. Really forms a nice water seal bond. I know a lot of people use heat shrink wrap, and that is great as well. I just don't have the mechanism to heat that up and get that done. So I use the wire nuts, and then I coat it really thick in that liquid electrical tape, and it works out nice. And then also, it's got a blue wire for the backup lights. So in order to attach, it's longer than all the rest of the wire. So what they want you to do is they want you to attach blue to blue, and you're going to use this little device right here. So you're going to put both wires in there, and then you're going to clamp this down. And when you do, this little metal piece will go down through there and cut through the wire and make a connection for both of these wires. And then we are going to run the extra length over to the other side on the passenger side and attach blue to blue, put another wire nut on, douse it in some liquid electrical tape, and then we're about to see if this thing works. For the blue wire, you take your little connector piece here, open it up a little bit, put the wire in, and then right here at this metal piece, you put your other wire in coming off of the light. And then what you are going to do is mash those two together, bring this clip all the way through till it latches down. All right, so now I've got my wires all connected, and I am ready to start sealing them up. I'm going to use this here liquid electric tape. You shake it up really well, stir it up really well. It comes with a little brush here. It's a real thick paste, and you can reapply it within 5 minutes. And so we're going to coat these things up really good, form a nice wider watertight seal. And I coat them up real good. get down in there. It's a really thick application, but it does seep down into the wire area. And of course, I overdo it, but that's okay. Better safe than sorry. I don't want to have to go back and do this again. So I'm going to keep doing this and applying this to this. I'm also going to apply it to this connector here. Get it on there real nice and thick. And while that's drying up for 5 minutes, I'm going to go and do the same thing to the other side, except the blue wire on the other side is not going to use this connector. It's going to connect directly to the other blue wire, use a wire nut, and seal it up. All right, y'all. So I did run into a little bit of a problem. I just finished up, and when I got to the front of the boat, and remember earlier in the video when I said if you maybe run the risk of not having enough line or whatever it may be, leave yourself that room at the front of the boat, so if you have to add some more to it, you can. Well, I had enough line, I think. I was going to leave myself about an 18 inches from the tongue to where it needs to connect to the truck. I was wanting a little bit more than that, and I got my wish. But the reason that I did was this kit, because it has a reverse light, comes with a 5-pin adapter attached to it. So what I had to do is I had to cut this off and attach my old one, because the receptacle in my truck fits this right here, which is the 4-pin. So now I have ample room on the front here, plenty of space to attach to the truck. So I guess it all works out for the best. Anyway, we are getting ready to hook this up and start turning on some lights and see if this works. God, I hope so. Okay, everyone, the moment of truth. We're about to test out the left and right turn signal as well as the brakes. We know that the reverse is not going to work because I wasn't able to hook up the blue wire due to the receptacle on the truck. But it's not required. It was just a nice little extra feature that come with it. So we're going to give it a shot now. Let's go left turn signal, and she's on. All right, let's go right turn signal. She's on. And now the brakes. And there we go, guys. Successful install. I sure do appreciate you hanging out. Thank you, everyone. Please, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Make sure you like this video and share it if you know anybody that might get any use out of this. I appreciate you all, and until next time, get outside and play.